All right, so we're talking about the dangers of bad data. So let me see if I understand this right. Often in a scenario of somebody who's about to deploy business intelligence, they understand that they have islands of data, they have distributed data, multiple locations, legacy systems, what have you. And they're faced with the challenge or the dilemma of how to consolidate or how to assemble.
Right.
So I don't know what the answer to that is. What advice can you give?
The situation that occurs in a lot of businesses is that perhaps they have several different locations. They may have different systems in use at the different locations. Someone's using Great Plains, someone's using ACVAC, someone's using whatever, something else.
Yep.
And I was talking with the CFO of an organization the other day, and I said, so how are you bringing this information together to do something with it? He said, well, they send us an Excel worksheet on a weekly basis, and we kind of pull those different...
They massage it.
Exactly, and they manually repeat things. And the problem is, Excel is a great tool for certain things, but it's also one that has a lot of manual user intervention. So they're taking things either copying and pasting or rekeying.
And that can introduce more problems.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
You have no audit trail.
Yep.
You know, I mean, how do you know where they are took place?
Right.
You have no ability to see the detail that supports that information. So you're dealing with just a high-level number, which really means that you're just accepting that everything that's below that, everything that's more granular, is accurate and is okay. And so we tend to look at that and say, look, there are ways that you can simplify this process, reduce the opportunity for error, automate it, make it auditable, and some of that's using very standard tools. I mean, for some of our clients, we've used Microsoft SQL's integration services, basically just a way of consolidating information automatically on a nightly basis, with some tracking of what has been done and the ability to go back to the source and say, that's where this
So it's not even using the tools, but leveraging the tools for audit capabilities so you can actually backtrack if there's an issue.
Absolutely. You know, to have a number that appears in a report and not be able to substantiate where that came from, what was the driver for that, it invalidates the whole analysis.
Yep.
You know, you're dealing with numbers that are of questionable value, and you know, it happens all the times in organizations at all sizes, whether they're, you know, a small single location operation, or I've talked with some organizations that are billions of dollars who are doing the exact same thing. They're copying and pasting in Excel, and it's just it's not necessary. Excel is a fantastic tool. I mean, I don't know where we would be if we weren't using it for much of our stuff, but it's not the best tool for doing data integration consolidations, you know, and again, you want to make sure that you can track back and find out what the driver was for a number.
So your advice here, then, I'm hearing you say, is don't rely solely on Excel, although Excel has a role, but there's additional tools, whether it be SQL Server or other data cleansing and extraction, transformation, loading tools, used together allows the end user to assemble the data in a repeatable manner that minimizes the human error aspect and also optimizes the efficiencies. But someone like yourself at Dynamic Intelligence, and that's really what you're about. That's a large part of your value proposition, is it not?
Definitely. I think we want to make sure that people are dealing with data that has integrity from beginning to end, so that they know where that's been drawn from, and you know, whether it's SQL Server or something from Business Objects, the data integrator there, being able to make that something that's automated. The other plus to that too, Daryl, is that when you automate those mundane processes and remove the ability for there to be a human error in transposition or whatever, in terms of transferring numbers from one source to a target, you're actually freeing up the time that's wasted in validating this information manually, so that people can focus, instead of on data collection, they can focus their efforts on using that for better decisions.
So you make an interesting point there. What I'm hearing you saying directly is, I may decide to do this in-house with my own resources, but the effort I'm going to put into it could as easily have paid for the nominal services of an expert who would have been far more efficient with a far more repeatable process, and the customer would have been happier with the end result.
Yeah, I mean, having an automated method, you know, once that's in place, then the time that was being wasted before is now being used for productive business use.
Yep.
Nobody gets anything out of going through copying and pasting from one Excel worksheet to another to do a consolidation. That's not a positive thing for your business. It's a time waster. And you know, I've seen organizations where the CFO is doing that very thing, copying and pasting information, and it comes to a point where they have a periodic meeting, and they just got the numbers compiled the day before the meeting.
Yeah.
And so they sit down and so what do these numbers mean? Well, I don't know. I haven't had a chance to get a look at them. There's been no analysis done. So even though the numbers may be completely valid and everything is there, there's nothing to say that they've been actually reviewed.
But the other point there is of interest is that in the whole manual process, it takes time.
Yep.
So the data and its relevance is getting less and less relevant because as time goes by.
I was speaking again with a controller in our organization recently who said that she's working on her budgets for 2010 for this calendar year now. And
the good news is she's talking to you.
Absolutely. Yes.
So if anybody watching this video has questions and they want to reach out and say, Jim, give me some advice, are you accessible?
Absolutely.
Twitter,
LinkedIn, website, email, phone.
All right. It's all on the contact us, I assume.
Absolutely.
On the website. There you go.